This is WCW Heavyweight Champion, one time, David Arquette, and you're listening to another wrestling podcast.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
All right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Guys, I got blocked again on Twitter.
I'm your mark of marks.
That's the most reliable source on the interwebs.
The social assassin at your disposal, bitches.
For you, Cooter.
What's that?
All right. 2020. It's a new year. It's a new day.
I want to hit you.
I'm Credo. I'm your mark of marks. This is episode 243. Happy New Year.
I thought you were going to say New Year, New Me. I was going to freaking just hit the log off button and go to bed. No. And by the way, I am Minority Mike.
And we all know that that's not possible. There's not going to be a new Credo because he's going to be the same old pain in my ass that he's been for, well, ever since we were kids. I am Angry Cooter at your disposal, bitches.
Oh, guys. Wow. Episode 243 today. Guys, we have on none other than former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, celebrity actor, David Arquette is joining us today. Guys, what a day. What a day to be alive and listening to AWP, huh?
Is anybody else, just thankful that the fucking holidays are over?
I'm very thankful that the holiday's over. I'm very thankful that 2020 happened. 2019 is gone. Since 2020, it's been so far, it's been very positive for myself. You know, I'm medically cleared now. A lot of you guys know I've had surgery back in November. I set as a surgery that, the average person takes about 10 to 12 weeks to recover from. I told my doctor I'll recover in 8 weeks, and I got medically cleared yesterday, and it's 7 weeks. So
Ooh,
I shocked myself. I overachieved on that one, and I'm very happy. So I'm back at it now, and it fucking feels great, and I just can't wait. Can't wait to start punching shit.
All right, can I cut you off now? I was just saying that I was thankful the holidays are over because I work at the post office, and Jesus Christ, if you motherfuckers don't start going back to stores and stop getting off your goddamn computers and buying shit on Amazon and ruining my fucking life, that would be greatly appreciated. Holy fuck, dude. That had to be one of the worst months of my life. Just bombardment of work. Just
it's amazing,
things that I've never seen or experienced in my job. It's just fucking incredible how lazy you motherfuckers are.
Telling you, we're turning into that movie Wall-E. Have you ever seen that movie Wall-E where the future everybody's just riding in chairs, fat, doing nothing? That's it, man. It's so much easier to order something online than it is to just go to a store, buy it, and whatever. So, it sucks, man. You guys are excited that the holidays are over. I don't know, I'm upset because I had so much time off. I sat around, I did nothing. Now I got a lot of shit to do because I've been putting it off. I got a lot of edits to do. But, man, I love just sitting around doing nothing for a few weeks and let the end of the year go away. But regardless, guys, it's 2020. It's time to step it up again, right? Step back into it. This is what we do. We're another wrestling podcast, and if you guys haven't checked it out, if you haven't seen it, if you've never heard about it, if you've never clicked on anything, go to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com, the mothership of AWP. At the top, you can find all the places where you can hear us from, whether you listen to us on, well, it's not iTunes anymore, it's just Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Player FM, TuneIn, whatever you guys listen to us on, click it, subscribe to us, leave us reviews. That's how we know you're out there. So either way, it's a new year. Listen to us, subscribe, like us, follow us, all that stuff. All the links are on there, anotherwrestlingpodcast.com, guys. But each and every week, there's shit that happens. Let's just get right into the week that was, because we've been off for about a week or so we haven't really talked or seen too much wrestling. So let's just get right into it, shall we?
Let's do this, motherfucker. Let's do it. What do we got? What's on the docket today?
So, Mike, we had 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know, guys. Maybe it's 2020. Maybe it's another year. I'm just getting older. But to me, Cooter, I think you said it last year. it's almost like, how do you get me to watch it? Make me watch it. Make me subscribe. Make me, grab me out there to where there's so much wrestling out there from New Japan, Ring of Honor, now AEW, WWE, anything and everything. There's just so much going on. It's like, how do you either A, watch it all, B, find the time to watch it all, or like, to me, I'm just picking and choosing. So Wrestle Kingdom, though, Mike, was 2 nights. I don't know how long each night was, but that's 2 nights of like a WrestleMania for them, if you will. Did you watch all 2 nights of it, or tell me about this show?
I watched both events, and I will say this. Each night was roughly, I want to say, about 4 hours. But the thing is, yeah, it was 4 hours, but it was the type of 4 hours where you're just like, holy shit, that went quick, because it was so good. I thought the first night was great. I know Cooter is not a big fan of Okada, but Okada had some of his best matches, especially with Ibushi, and then the following night with Naito. Those matches were incredible. Match of the years? No, I wouldn't say match of the years. It's still early, but the card was just great, and it just felt like I didn't feel overwhelmed when I was watching it. Especially like I felt like I can sit down, watch day 1, and then go about my business, and then next day I could sit down and watch day 2 whenever I please. And I think dividing up Wrestle Kingdom made it more of an attraction. And I know I've heard a lot of fans going out there, to Japan, and they made it like a vacation thing. I mean, it's kind of like how fans travel out this way for WrestleMania, but they're only going for 1 day. A lot of fans did the 3 nights, and I say 3 nights meaning you had the 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, and the very next day they had the New Year's Dash. And I thought the card was incredible. I mean, I wish the WWE would maybe try. They'll never will, but I wish they would try the 2-night format to see how it is, and if it doesn't work, then the next year go back to what you do.
Yeah.
But I'd rather sit through 2 nights of 4 hours of good wrestling than sit 12 hours through a lot of stuff that doesn't mean anything.
No, yeah, like 2 days is good. 4 hours is palatable, if you will, to just sit there and watch it. To where, like, we did Mania, and it was a shift at work, man. It was 8 hours, right? So it's like,
yeah,
what do you do? And I think at the end of the day, it just needs to come down to, not everybody needs to win a trophy. Not everybody needs to be in WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So like, that's why they have TakeOver the day before, have like their show, and leave WrestleMania to the best of the best of the best storylines. But I don't know if they could even ever split 2 days up for like Mania like that. It's just I don't know. They feel like they have to put everybody into it, and I don't know, for Wrestle Kingdom to split it up into 2 days, I think it's smart, but I still fall into the problem of I don't know. I don't connect to the Japanese wrestling or the Japanese style, or I'm only tuning in if I really want to see somebody or some, like somebody over here going over there or doing something somebody that I know. I don't know. Like, I know these guys, and I try watching these matches, and it's like sometimes they move in slow motion, but they're hitting really hard, and I can't get into it. I don't know. I can't watch it. I'm not putting them down. I'm not saying they suck or anything. I can't relate.
Here's the thing about Mania being 2 days, and you set it on the ball, meaning basically, everybody gets a trophy. Well, you can kind of spread it out. Like you don't have to cram everybody in that Andre the Giant Battle Royal. You could spread out storylines. You could do stuff on day 1. You could do stuff on day 2. You could make something mean something. Like the main event for so basically the Intercontinental title match on night 1. The winner of that match faced the winner of the heavyweight title match on night 2. Like, they made it seem like, shit, like, now I have to tune in to see who's going to win both belts. Like, they did stuff special. Like, they kind of spread out everything. And I think, rather than cramming everybody and you barely see them, you could probably spread it out a little better.
Well, I said this last year, guys.
You did. And I apologize to cut you off, but I was just going to go there that this is something that you actually mentioned.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for, prefacing my statement there. No, but... we've been saying it for years that Mania has been too long. The only problem with it now is they have this set format for their weekend. They want a night of the Hall of Fame. They want the main card to be last, and they want the NXT because it's a big seller. I think if you did split it in 2 nights, look at the money you're getting at the gate. I mean, honestly, you're literally doubling what you're getting at the gate, because if you're having 2 nights, you have 2 world titles. You could have one main event one night and one main event the other. Yeah. It's just simple mathematics. And for somebody like Vince, who's keen on, the bottom line, well, the bottom line is that fuck money, baby, that green and black. And it was 8 hours, Credo. That's a hell. That's a hell of a night, especially when you miss catering, right? But
Cooter, you're a fucking genius. I'm gonna give you that praise right now. This is 2020, baby. We're starting sending you. I'm giving you compliments right now because
look at that.
I keep forgetting that we do have 2 world titles. So night 1 at Mania, you could do one of the world titles as your main event, and then night 2 you could do the other one. And there you go. There you go. There's your Mania right there. We just booked 2 nights on AWP over here.
Now 2 nights could work, but what about 2 nights in 2 different places? Now,
too much.
UK always wants a Mania. Remember how the first one they did? It was in New York and then LA or something. I forget.
That was WrestleMania 2. It was LA, Chicago, and New York.
Do you think that could ever work again? But then it's like you go there, then you have to watch it. So where if they did one night, just say LA, like that, and then the second night New York, to where. Well, you probably have some marks that are going to do the flight from back and forth to each show, but I don't know, because I know the UK complains a lot because they never get a show or kind of a thing. So
do you know why that won't work, Credo? Is because cities put in bids for the full week's worth of events. Now, if you were going to do that, you miss out on them paying you to host that whole thing. Yeah. And you're not guaranteed to get, the better card. I mean, let's face it, because you know how lopsided WWE could be. Even if they were to do something like that, the first night is going to be the shit card, and the second night is going to be what they feel is the better card. So it could go either way. I don't know. I mean, I could see it working, but at the same time, I mean, 2 nights is the bid money worth losing if you're doing it in 2 different cities? Probably.
Yeah. Well, is this like the first time they've done it too for Wrestle Kingdom? Is that was this new this year? Because I don't follow it that much, so I don't know if it was like.
This is the first time they actually tried the 2 nights, because everything was always one night, and they experimented with the 2 night. And I don't know if both nights were sold out. I'd have to look into that, but from what I was seeing, it looked like a pack house every night.
The year of experiments. I like it. Well, including that, Jushin Thunder Liger has retired. Guys, over 35 years. The dude's 55. Officially done. Man, I don't think I've ever seen him wrestle live. I know he was at some Northeast wrestling shows, and I don't think I ever went to those, but I never saw Jushin Thunder Liger wrestle. I don't know.
I think I saw him once in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We did, yes. You were drunk.
Oh, God, that's a great story. Oh, you know what? I will tell this story. I polished off 3/4 of a bottle of Belvedere before that takeover. I was a sloppy mess. And here I am, Jushin Thunder Liger comes out.
You did do takeover.
That's right. And he was facing Prince Pretty there. Goddamn, what a fucking match these guys put on. And I remember going with my cousin, who's not a wrestling fan, who had to go for other reasons, which we won't mention on the show, But the whole point of it was, I'm telling him, stand up, man. Show this man respect. I mean, we're talking about a legend here. Everybody's standing up and applauding for this guy, and he's looking at me like, you drunk fuck. What are you talking about? No, for real. Stand up and show him some guy. And he's laughing at me like I'm like the biggest asshole in the world. Well, whatever.
Well, the man's retired now. Jushin Thunder Liger.
And he had a great match with Tyler Breeze, too.
It
was a good match.
Wow. Well, guys, new year, different experiments, Wrestle Kingdom happening. I keep reading about this. I know we've talked a lot of AEW in 2019. They're only on their 10th show or whatever, 10th week if it is or whatnot, but there's still a lot of backlash happening to where the stories, the Dark Order, the division that's really not a women's division, Brandy Rhodes hogging the spotlight. Guys, are they crumbling before our eyes? I mean, I love the graphics. I love what they're doing with the interviews backstage and all that, but They need. I don't know what they. And I'll tell you what though. Like I said before, there's a lot of wrestling happening, and I can't keep up with anything. So I haven't watched AEW in probably 4 weeks or so, maybe. I still got to catch up. I have like a loaded DVR. I'm not going to talk about anything. I'm just talking about what I'm reading online, and a lot of people are just hating on it. I think the Young Bucks quit Twitter because a lot of they're getting a lot of backlash from fans on certain things, and I just also read that Kenny Omega was answering fans about talking about the women's division. Maybe they shouldn't have all been vice presidents, and they should have just wrestled and left that to somebody else. But I don't know, guys. 10 weeks old? Is it? Do they have a lot to do in 2020 to make up for it?
All right, let me start this one because I don't want to be the guy who said I told you so, but I told you so. The one silver lining for me with this whole thing has been Cody Rhodes. Everything he touches on television has gotten positive reviews from me. Not always the best, but it's been the best television that they've put on. You know, guys like the Young Bucks, they're a great tag team in the style that they do. Kenny Omega is a great attraction in Japan. Great chemistry with Okada. That's how he really, really made a name for himself. Two decent wrestlers had a great series of matches, and now they think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. That doesn't mean that you should be booking a completely different division. Just because you're one of the most popular tag teams, and I'm not even going to say one of the best, I'm going to say one of the most popular, does not mean that you should be booking a tag division. And I get it. Oh, well, you know, we're trying to help get other people over because they've been doing a lot of jobs, so on and so forth. I get it. You think that that's the right thing to do. If you're one of the most popular tag teams, it's okay to put somebody over and win some fucking matches too. I mean, there's ways of making sure that everybody looks good, and they haven't figured that out yet. You know, I'm not saying it's over, but I'm saying they need to let somebody else put their hands on the product and either be in-ring workers or be behind the scenes. Pick one. You can't do both.
Kuda, I also read a thing, and I literally interviewed him about this too, but they always talk about how they don't have writers. And now I know how a lot of people shit on WWE for, oh, this is a bad story, the writers suck, they don't know what they're doing and whatnot, to where I could chalk that up as they have too much to write. So you can't always hit, you know, a bullseye on everything for them, to where they're writing hours and hours of TV a week. Now, AEW keeps bragging that they don't have writers. They're just, and which I love to a certain extent, to where I want to see guys improv or ad-lib and kind of just go with it, right? I want to see them do a live promo, not have to remember a script. But do you think that's almost hurting them, to where they don't have that structure? You know, I like talking about structure lately, but you know what I mean? To where I'm not saying they need to write a novel for these guys, but like, I think they need somebody back there to write, to give
I know exactly where you're going. And I know exactly what you mean. Because
they keep bragging about it, but I'm like, I don't think you should brag about it, because you guys have so much shit going on and people are just shitting on it, and maybe you should have a writer. I don't know.
Well, here's the funny thing, you know, that everybody says that, oh, the fans can just never be happy. WWE is too heavily scripted. It shows. AEW is not scripted enough, and it shows. You have to find that fair medium of there's the sweet spot, you know. Yeah. It's just like anything else. You can't be far left and you can't be far right. You guys got to find it in the middle, right?
Yeah. No, for sure. So I mean, like I said, it's 2020. I don't hate AEW. I'm just saying what other people are talking about out there. So it seems that they still have things to work on in 2020 as we roll along. But guys, one thing that came up too this week, the Royal Rumble is right around the corner. One of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're planning. But Brock Lesnar is number one. is this gonna fucking suck the wind out of this match, or is it something that's gonna be short and sweet, or he's number 1, number 2 is, I don't know, Cain Vasquez and he throws him out, or what do you guys predict for this? Because he ain't going to the end of the match. He ain't going to the end of the show. I don't think.
I think he is. But
you think he's gonna go
besides the point. Yeah. Mike, go ahead.
I think he's definitely going to the end of the match. I think he is. I think they're trying something different where this is their way of building a storyline to lead into Mania, and I'm okay with it in some weird way because it's different and I want to see how they go about it and how they do it. Will it fail? I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We've never seen this done before. The only time we've ever seen the world champion going in at number 1 was when Roman Reigns did it, when he defended the title at the Rumble, but there is no title defense. He's not defending the title. He's just proving how much of a monster he is by going in at number 1 and surviving the entire Rumble. But in my opinion, he's going to go all the way, and I honestly think he gets eliminated towards the end, and I think that's how they build their WrestleMania program.
Yeah, now I'm gonna throw some stuff out here at you, Mike, because I know you're a busted open listener like I am, and they threw out scenarios. They threw out a CM Punk. They threw out the idea of the Undertaker. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see why it can't be all of the above.
I agree.
I mean, can you imagine this? You know, Brock Lesnar cleans house, and all of a sudden he's in the ring by himself. The countdown happens, and boom, you hear the gong. And you know how it takes him an hour to get to the ring. By the time he actually gets in the ring and has that face-off with Brock, that next countdown's already going on.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something if all of a sudden the lights go out and you hear the cawing of a crow? Because you're thinking, oh, Brock Lesnar shitting his pants because here comes the Undertaker.
That'd be nice,
you know?
Nostalgic, yeah.
And then boom, you get Sting in there, and you're setting up that one. And Brock can just stay back and be like, yeah, I'm gonna let you guys handle this because this is something. I mean, that's a moment.
Yeah, I know, man. You're making me
fighting. Yeah, you know, I mean, this could be the greatest thing ever. And then at a number 28 or a 29, you can get a CM Punk, and you're not just building the Brock Lesnar story. This is the opportunity to build a few stories in that match, because I'm going to be honest with you. We've had this talk. I'm not watching the Royal Rumble this year. I am not a WWE Network subscriber because they have not sold me on their product. That's their goal for 2020. Make me resubscribe. I dare you.
Yeah. I'm saying that. That's at my old age, man. That's what I'm saying. I can't watch everything, so I can't. So I'm picking and choosing. So I'm saying with him at number 1, I hope there's just some good surprises in. I don't want to fucking see Zack Ryder at number 2. I don't want to see, build this as like the Rumble, man. And you just Sting and Taker. It's perfect for them because they don't have to have a fucking 30-minute match. All they have to have is that encounter, a few punches, and boom, somebody. You know what I mean? Like just little moments. Give us little moments. I'll tell you. You said 28 or 29. Number 30 should be Punk because that crowd would love it. I want to see a pop on number 30 because I feel like ever since Roman won it or ever since he came out or it was Rey Mysterio, everybody expects somebody huge at 30. And I feel like it's just been boos for the past few years. I can't remember everybody who's been at 30, but don't waste CM Punk. I mean, who knows what he's going to do, if he can do it or if he's never going to, whatever. But I want to see it.
It's going to happen. I think everybody wants to see it. Yeah. Even those internet all those assholes on the internet, oh, that's coming past, that ship has sailed. Fuck you. Because you know the second that cult of personality hits, you're hopping out of your seat and saying, oh, shit. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
So, real quick about that, with the Lesnar. Tweet of the week, for my opinion, I got a good kick out of this, was Dio Madden, former Raw broadcaster, tweeted out a picture of writing in, he screenshot of him typing in Google how to draw number 20 or number 2 in the Royal Rumble with a picture of him and Lesnar face to face. I got a pop out of that. I thought that was pretty funny. But I just got a kick out of that tweet. Yeah, he literally Googled how to draw number 2 in the Royal Rumble with a picture of him and Lesnar face to face under it. And I gotta say, once again, I brought this up in the past, but Dio Madden is taller than Lesnar. He's a lot. I didn't think he was that big.
He's a big dude, bro.
Right, big boy.
He's got to go get relevant first. I don't know who he.
Yeah, but you can imagine. But it's the built-in storyline with a Credo. There's a lot of guys that they could just throw into the Rumble who have history with Lesnar. You can throw an Undertaker in there. You can throw a Punk in there. You can throw a Dio Madden in there. You can throw Cain Velasquez in there again. Rey Mysterio has history with him. There's just a wide variety of things that they can do. Are they going to be smart enough to capitalize on all the possibilities of what they have with it? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you spoke about tweets, Mike. How about a tweet from CM Punk to The Miz? The Miz was on their fucking YouTube show or whatever the show is now on FS1.
Oh, backstage.
Backstage, yeah, that's what I meant.
Fox, yeah.
And so he made fun of. I'm sure everybody knows and read about it. And he made fun of Punk. He changed or whatever. And Punk, I guess, tweeted it and then deleted it. He said, "Go suck a blood money covered dick in Saudi Arabia, you fucking dork." And I didn't think he says dork, but well, that was a tweet, I guess, to remember. But he did delete it. But I love CM Punk now because the Miz thinks he's gonna, get one up on CM Punk. Meanwhile, Punk can say whatever the fuck he wants to because he's not getting paid right now from WWE. He's getting paid from Fox, so. That's hilarious. I'm telling you, man, you love him or hate him, I love that they have him and that he could just speak freely, and I understand why he deleted it. You don't want to leave that shit up.
What do you mean he doesn't care about what when he was on the roster, he didn't give a fuck what he said on Twitter.
Well, I know
all that.
Yeah, well, that's true. But it's just fucking Miz. Anyway, I want to bring up one I do want to bring up one thing. Chelsea Green, she was on Raw, I believe, maybe SmackDown too, but she debuted in NXT with former, also member from Impact, Robert Stone, who is Robert Strauss, Robbie E. And guys, little known fact, I don't want to say I helped him get into NXT, but I filmed his first vignettes of him, being this guru guy, a manager kind of thing, down in the city, and that's kind of what he used to sell to get into NXT, believe it or not. So I'm kind of a little bit behind this old Robert Stone character. So as much as
look at this motherfucker trying to put himself over.
It's 2020.
Come on, man, stop it.
I got the original videos. I'll show you guys. But no, I'm happy to see him. And he was actually working with two other guys down there, and they haven't brought him up. I can't even remember their names off the top of my head, but I guess they're just making him a manager, which is good, and I think that's what, a lot of things lack nowadays. They don't have, regular managers, and I'm kind of excited to see him step up to that role to be a manager, and just, I want to see that again, from Bobby the Brain Heenans and all these other guys. I feel like there's not any managers, except for, Paul Heyman, who only has one guy, but I want to see managers again, so I'm excited about this. Robert Stone, Chelsea Green connection, and I know he's going to have a little stable and all that going on, but long story short, I'm so happy to see it because once again, I feel like I helped him get into NXT.
Right,
so if you want a promo cooter,
shout out to Robbie E, man. Shout out to Robbie E.
I could get you anything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, stop. I'm going to say this though, for real. Shout out to Robbie E. Congratulations. And he's got the personality for that kind of a gig.
Yeah,
he really does. And it's not to say that he was a bad in-ring worker, but I mean,
he was good.
No,
yeah.
he's really solid. But I think this is the perfect role for him. He just has that personality where I think a lot of other people can benefit from having him in their corner. Yeah. And they can really help get people over. This is perfect for him. Shout out to Robbie E. Congratulations. And, thanks, Steve Credo. Credo trying to get something free for him.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm saying.
Am I the only person that kind of picked this up to? Chelsea Green is dating or engaged to Zack Ryder.
Yes.
Robert Strauss used to have that Jersey boy bro gimmick.
That's right.
Which Zack Ryder has. I don't know why I kind of connected all those puzzle pieces last night, but I just did. It was just weird.
Well, we talked about some weird things. It is 2020. People are experimenting. Has it happened or it hasn't happened or they're having a rematch, I think, on Impact, guys. I know we never talked about Impact, but believe it or not, it's 2020. Anything could happen here. But Sami Callihan, I thought one of the most talented wrestlers who really did get a good spotlight in NXT, who's the Impact champion right now. They're having well, what they call intergender matches, but they're not calling it anymore. I know Sami doesn't like calling it like that. He just wants to call it a wrestling match. But let's hear this out, because we probably get some hate mail out of this. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this, and I want to get into it a little bit, but, having a female versus a male for their coveted title. When
be careful, Credo. Be careful.
I know, I'm treading the waters, but hear me out.
Tread lightly.
Before you send in the hate mail, I don't hate it, but at the same time, I feel like you chalk it up to putting her in... I'm truly trying to think of my words because I don't want that hate mail. But to have her in the match, I don't mind. It's 2020, right, guys? Things are changing, but I feel like if you didn't have a women's championship, I feel like, okay, there's no women's championship, so why not? Let her wrestle for it. I want to see her in the match. But now that you have like a women's championship, and then you have her fighting for the main championship, to me, it's like, I feel like you're having a cruiserweight fight a heavyweight. Meanwhile, there's a whole cruiserweight division, and I don't know. Is it mixing? Is it crossing the lines? Is it crossing the streams too much? But, and I don't know. There's a lot of things I could say, but I don't hate it. I just don't know if the world is ready for it. Are you guys?
Let me ask you a question.
I don't know.
And I know Mike saw it. Did you watch the match?
I haven't watched the match. I just seen like bits and clips of it, so I'm not judging on the match itself. I'm just saying as far as
Mike,
it as a whole,
please. Educate him, please.
It was a great match. Like Tessa Blanchard, I feel like by most people is just underappreciated about who she is in the ring. And I think the WWE, when they had her, they dropped the ball when they let her go.
Never signed her, yeah.
They dropped the ball when they let that woman go because she is gold. She is magic. What they're doing at Impact. Now, granted, in the past, I've shit on Impact. I have. Okay? But I will tell you this right now. I've watched their product, and their product has turned around on me. And I will say this, and Cooter, if you haven't watched Impact, give it a chance if you have access. Because you might like it a lot more than you would in AEW. Because they do have great storylines and they do have great matches that do actually mean stuff. And the refs do follow the rules. But when it comes to this match, between Tessa and Sami, to me, as a wrestling fan, some people might think differently. But to me, it is a big deal. Because this is the first time in my history of being a fan. Now, I'm sure this might happen. I don't know. I didn't really dig too deep in the books. But this is the first time I'm seeing a woman challenge for a world title. And if that happens and she beats Sami Callihan, to me, it's believable. And to me, I think that will put Impact on the map and people will be talking about it nonstop.
Now, here, let me
Whoa. Let me throw this out here because I throw my 2 cents in. Because I think what makes this so great is the fact that it's a smaller company and you don't have the big bruisers like a Brock Lesnar or a Roman Reigns. Granted, Sami Callihan is a bigger dude than Tessa Blanchard. But because the way that they've built this story up, we're talking probably over a year at this point, Mike, right?
Almost, a little less. It's been ongoing, but not just with Sami. She's been in there in number 1 contenders matches. She got in there with Brian Cage,
and she's
the Machine.
And she's believable in her in-ring performance. It would be like, Credo. Let me throw this out there: if Charlotte Flair was in a match against Rey Mysterio, do you think Charlotte Flair might be able to pull it off? I think in this scenario that I'm trying to throw out here is evenly matched, and Tessa is just on that Charlotte Flair level. It seems more believable. Plus the way that they've built the story, it's really, really good, and their chemistry is amazing.
Well, sometimes when I think about it, I think about like women's wrestling, and I'm not knocking women's wrestling. There's a lot of great women's wrestlers out there, but sometimes when I watch women's wrestling, I feel like I don't feel like they're running at 100%. You know what I mean? Sometimes when they hit the ropes because they're not as heavy, it doesn't look. to me, like when I watch women's wrestling, sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, sometimes when I see certain matches, whether it's indie or whatever, I just feel like it's 80%, you know, like they're not, it looks like it's slowed down. Some of the girls, their timings aren't the same. And I know men or women are made different. We have different body structures, different strengths, different things that we can do that they can't, and so on and so forth. But when you have a woman in the main events for your cover, and I haven't seen it, so like I said, I'm not talking about the match. When you just put that on the wall as Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callihan, I'm like, well, how, you know, like how believable is it that she could even, you know, face him or fight him or whatnot? But I know they had a street fight, right? I believe it was a street fight in New York City or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they had a pretty intense fight.
So I like I said, I have to watch it. I'll eat my words next week or whatnot. I'll watch it.
I will say this: if that's how you think about the women, then I suggest you sit down and watch Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim.
No, that was fantastic.
That match will change your mind.
I'll
there. That match was fantastic.
You know what else? No, but I'm gonna back up Credo on this too, though, because there's I've seen a lot of these intergender matches, and they just don't seem to work. And I'm gonna throw a name out there, Candice LeRae.
Okay.
Okay. I've seen a lot of those matches that she's had with the dick spot guy. Okay. Listen, they were just, and I'm not hating on her athletic ability. It just doesn't seem, she's not the believable character, and she doesn't have the physicality that a Tessa Blanchard has to where a woman versus a man in a wrestling match seem believable.
Yeah.
Okay. So in certain scenarios, yeah, Credo, you're absolutely right. Like fucking, there it is. You're absolutely right. But I mean, again, we gotta, depending on the situation, you gotta do it by a case basis.
So okay, with all that said, though, at the end of the day, though, now that let's just say she becomes Impact World Heavyweight Champion, right? Which I don't have a problem with, but I'm saying, then I feel like, how do you cross the streams, right? Like, how do you then, like, can a cruiserweight fight her, or can she, you know what I mean? Or I know I'm trying to think of, like, between Impact and WWE, I'm just trying to think of, like, all the different divisions and whatnot, but, you know, okay, now she's world champion, then if she loses it, then does she go for the women's championship, or is now she just a part of the mix of the main eventers on Impact, you know what I mean? Or I don't know how you play it. And I'll tell you what, going back after all the years, the only believable women that I thought could hang with the men at that time was Chyna and Beth Phoenix.
Right out of my mouth.
And Beth Phoenix, to where I didn't mind that. I didn't mind seeing them do that, because look at them. They look like, you know, they're built up powerhouses, if you will, as women. But I feel like today there's no built-up women like that. Between Chyna, I mean, even Nicole Bass was kind of weird about stuff, but, you know, like, those are the kind of women I always saw, like, oh, okay, well, put them with the match. But, like, some of the girls today, they're short, they're skinny, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on it, but I'm just saying it doesn't make it believable to me that they're going against the world champion and whatnot. And I'm going to watch the match, and I'm not going to say anything else about it, but that's it. At the end of the day, I don't know. That was a lot of stuff.
You know what's funny though? Before we switch topics, I want to end on this topic. The one thing that does bother me about it is the fact that they say it's going to be, if she wins, it's the first time that a woman has beaten a man for a title. And Credo, you just threw it out there. Technically, it's not a world title, but Chyna did beat Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental title. She was an Intercontinental champion at one point. So this isn't the first time that we've seen it. But it's the first time it's going to be on a world title stage.
I don't know. I guess it'll only work for certain things. Like, I don't think you could do this for every company or every show. And, you know, if this is what Impact does to stand out, more power to them, because they have that wiggle room to do this kind of stuff, as to where WWE couldn't do that. You can't, like, have Charlotte Flair beat Brock Lesnar. You know, like, it's too, I don't know. I feel like it's too out of there right now for them, at least.
Hey,
but anything is possible.
I guarantee you that this is a success for Impact, and it works for them. The WWE might, you know, jump in there and do it.
Not until Vince is dead. Nobody.
I would like to add, though,
it took 50 years for Vince to make a black guy champion. You're damn well sure they're never going to make a fucking woman champion over that shit. I'll tell you that right now. as much fun as it is to be back, and why we still iron out details of what kind of segment I could bring about this show, we'll have in future episodes. But guys, I do want to bring on somebody who's a genuinely nice guy, inside and outside of the ring. Every time I've seen him or talked to him, the dude is just super cool with everybody. David Arquette is here for the first guest of the new year.
All right, 2020 is already starting out huge for us here at Another Wrestling Podcast. Today we are here with one of the biggest names we've ever had on the podcast. He's from a legendary acting family. He starred in more than 100 films. Oh, and just so happens he's a former WCW champion as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. David Arquette.
Oh, yeah. Former WCW champion. I know. They said that at a match I just recently had. I end up just apologizing to the crowd, really.
Listen, there's nothing to apologize for. It was a part of history, whether people like it or not. Happy New Year. How's it going?
Good, man. I rang in the new year with RJ City, Colt Cabana, Joey Ryan, Watts, the Rockness Monsters, a bunch of great wrestlers, and it was a really fun time. We did a 10 count on the top of the corner ropes, all four corners, a count down. Oh. So we were actually wrestling from 2019 into 2020. Yeah, Jervis was there too.
Now, David, we talk a lot about being a former world heavyweight champion as yourself, but I know when we talked a while ago, I know you've gotten a lot of heat over the years for your title win, but I must say what you have been doing over the past few years in the wrestling world, I would say that you've redeemed yourself, I would believe. How has it been for you to get out there with countless promotions and do what you ultimately love, which is pro wrestling?
It's been great, man. I mean, the greatest part of it is that I've been accepted into the locker room as one of the boys. And I have such a respect and love for this business and what the sort of real professional wrestlers do. So just to be sort of accepted and included, it's been a real honor. I mean, I'm learning stuff every time I go in the ring. You know, I get to work with these guys. Working with Colt Cabana and Joey Ryan was just such a thrill, man. These guys, they just are such pros at the world of wrestling, but also just the storytelling element and the character development and the comedy component. You know, I learned a lot from RJ City too, my tag team partner, although he's kind of prickly. He's actually here with me if you want to talk to him in a second. He's quite a character, but it's been great. You know, it's been a great thing. But you know, I've been filming it all for a documentary called "You Cannot Kill David Arquette," and the final line I say in the movie is, I got a couple moves, but I'll never be a great wrestler. I've kind of accepted that. It's good to know your limitations, but it's also, part of it's putting on a show, and whenever we go in there, we give it our all, and it's tough on the body. It's a brutal business, and it's far realer than anybody could ever imagine.
Well,
so you step in there and take a nice, good shot to the head. Or your back, like my back, my neck, everything's out now.
Yeah.
Well, you've obviously you had before you even started back in 2018, you had the highest career high that one can ever achieve, which is the being a champion in the sport. So now that you're kind of back into the business, and you've mentioned you're wrestling everywhere, what's the most surreal thing been for you in this go around in the business? What's happened to you that you just can't believe?
Oh man, just doing things like just doing a run-in with Mick Foley and Jerry the King Lawler, taking a pile driver from Jerry the King Lawler. My death match with Nick Gage was a crazy experience. Getting to see Jungle Boy sort of his career take off. I was sort of right there at that time. And also being right in the mix when there's a bit of a revolution in wrestling right now. So just be part of it and around. And just, getting to meet, the Demolition or doing a show where Sting's there signing and getting to wrestle with the Honky Tonk Man. I mean, just like kind of dream stuff when I was a kid and being able to work with these guys. And Honky Tonk sold for me, which was something he doesn't normally do. So I'm very grateful for that. And he was great. I found out. I probably shouldn't reveal my tricks, but sure I will. I typically, I'm a fan first, even before a wrestler and everything. So I typically go around at the signings and stuff, and when I have a second off, I go and I see the different booths and find a couple shirts I like or action figure, and I found a Honky Tonk Man one. And then I went over to him and I insisted on paying for an autograph, even though we were wrestling. And, an hour later, but he was really gracious. He signed it for me. I made sure I insisted on paying, and I think that helped. This helped his decision to sell for me.
Perfect. Well, David, you mentioned this documentary coming out. You Can't Kill David Arquette. When could the fans expect to possibly see it? And maybe can you tell us maybe a little bit more what we could expect?
It'll probably be summertime next year. It takes a little while for them to get up a plan, and we'll go to a film festival, and that's where you have to sell it. So we'll make an announcement pretty soon about sort of where it ends up. It's been submitted to a bunch of festivals, so we'll have more information about that, in the next few months.
All right.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in April of 2000, another movie that you did came out, Ready to Rumble. It is coming up on the 20th year anniversary of that movie. So
that's so wild.
What do you think about that movie? And it's it's taken on its own life in the world of professional wrestling. Do you have fond memories of doing that movie, or was it something that was kind of hard because it was merging the two things of acting and professional wrestling?
No, the actual filming of it was incredible. I mean, I got to work with the Macho Man and Sting and Goldberg and all these incredible Diamond Dallas Page, who's like a true mentor of mine. And so that was a blast. I just had fun, and I was friends with Scott Conn before, and working with Oliver Platt was amazing. So that was a blast. But, it didn't do well when it first came out in theaters, but it had a bit of a cult on a Discovery on DVD and did really well. So it's lived on. I kind of say that my documentary, because Diamond Dallas Page is in it, I go to one of his DDPY retreats and ask for his advice, and he sets me up to meet some luchadors in Tijuana, and I go and wrestle there and have my first match, sort of unsanctioned match, 8-man tag team, mass tag team lucha. I got to wrestle in the streets of Tijuana, like street wrestling, where you ask for coins and stuff like that. But it was really cool, man. It was a very cool experience, and I'd like to say that the documentary is kind of an unauthorized sequel to Ready to Rumble.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, speaking of movies, I have it lined up in my queue, Mobtown, which was kind of filmed over here in our backyard, over here in the Hudson Valley. Can you tell us a little bit about it, and how was it like for you maybe filming on this side of the country?
It was really cool. I mean, it was right sort of around the time I was getting back in the ring, so I was able to pop up to Northeast Wrestling, and on my birthday, I was filming on my birthday, and they gave me a cake, and King Brian Anthony up there slammed my head into a cake on my birthday. So that's part of the movie as well. And but Mocktown was really fun to make. I'm really good friends with Danny A, the director, and he cast me in it. He's also an actor in it, and it was just a fun experience. You know, if you look at it, at the end of the film, Michael Lombardi, who's the main owner and promoter of NEW, takes a nice bump at the end of on the end of the movie. And he was visiting the set, and I said, Danny, this is Michael Lombardi. He can take the bump if you want someone to fall. And he took this great bump at the end of the movie, so everyone should check that out. He does a nice bump roll.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that. Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's online, or VOD or whatever.
Sure, and I'm a big mob movie fan, but I also understand too in 2020 you have a 12-hour Shift coming out, and I understand Mick Foley makes a cameo in that too, huh?
Yeah, he sure does. Sorry, I'm over here in Arkansas. We're building a set for our next film, and we filmed 12-hour Shift out here too with the same group of people. So, yeah, we were lucky enough to get Mick Foley to come out and do a few days on it, and he's wonderful. He's such a great actor, man. And a lot of the wrestlers I've met are really wonderful actors, thinking on their toes. They know when things are real, when things feel, fake. So it's a great way to kind of, discover talent. There's such a pool of talent that I hope Hollywood sort of opens their eyes to. We're casting right now. We're casting some people, some wrestlers, and in this next film. So I want to keep putting wrestlers in movies I produce.
Well, I want to let it out there that, if you ever need two podcasters, me and Jonathan are always happy to. I don't know how we would ever fit in the world like that, but we're just leaving it open for you,
Well, thank you. I sure will.
I make a mean grilled cheese sandwich too, if you need,
Oh, hey, it's some craft service?
Yeah, absolutely.
Catering? Oh, amazing.
So we know you're super busy. We don't want to let you, we don't want to keep you all day. Just got like 2 more questions for you.
No problem.
I think it's really amazing to kind of see nowadays, just to round you out. Obviously, people knew you as an actor first, and then you got into the world of wrestling, but a lot of people, just because of your connection to Hollywood, call you, a modern day Andy Kaufman, which is just incredible. I've been trying to get people to call me that my whole life, but it sounds like you're more like a modern day Renaissance man. You act, you wrestle, you do producing and all of that. But there's something else that I just recently learned about you because I follow you on Instagram is this thing.
I'm a certified Bob Ross instructor.
Exactly. So
yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I've always loved Bob Ross, and I watched the show all the time, and found it relaxing, and I love the way he teaches art. And his whole philosophy was that he just wanted people to paint. People who thought they'd never have the skill to be able to paint, become artists. So I went down to New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and I took a 3-week course and got certified as a Bob Ross instructor. So now I typically use it as a charity thing where I either put it up for auction, and people can auction it off at different charities. Then they come to my studio and I put them through a lesson, or I'll go to a women's shelter or women's center and help the ladies there. And just, I did that right before Christmas, about 20 ladies, and taught them how to paint, and they get such a kick out of it. And I love teaching them. So it's been a fun thing to be able to do, and it keeps me painting and keeps sort of Bob's spirit alive. You learn a lot of stories about him, and you can share things that, people might not know, like he was a drill sergeant instructor before he became a television painting teacher. So he got so sick of screaming at people that he, assumed this he'll never scream again kind of persona.
So if you're talking about Bob Ross, then obviously I want to know how well do you think he would have done in the squared circle?
Oh man, he's being a sergeant or Marine or whatever, drill sergeant. I'm sure he'd be pretty tough. That's a good gimmick, Sergeant Slaughter, obviously, but just a drill instructor, someone who's really does that would be a pretty good gimmick. So I think it'd be good. Or, I have talked to some people about doing a Bob kind of character where I come out and paint a painting, but he never hit anybody. So I'd have the angry trees come out and defend me, and then maybe I'd smack someone across the face with a paint full of brush full of paint kind of thing.
The final brush stroke could be your finish there.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Again, we want to thank you so much for coming on today. Obviously, you're aware of all professional wrestling. It's 2020. There's more wrestling out there than there's ever been before. You've recently done some stuff with WWE, but as you're well aware, they do have the Hall of Fame. Happens every year around WrestleMania. And they do have a celebrity wing of that Hall of Fame. And the fact that you were WCW champion alone should put you in there. But I'm wondering your thoughts on if you think that you'll ever be inducted into the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever will be, but there's plenty of people that deserve it before me, like Cyndi Lauper or Andy Kaufman. I mean, there's tons of people that I think should be in there. So I just love wrestling. It's not now. To me, it's not about belts or accolades or anything. It's about strapping on the boots and entertaining the crowds and meeting the people and having them sort of slap you on the back as you're going back to the locker room kind of thing. That's really the only reason I'm doing it, and getting to know some really incredible people. Like got to hang out with RJ City and Dalton Castle yesterday because Dalton lives in the Nashville area, and he drove down. Was nice enough to do that. And, so it's really about ultimately when you get into it, you find out that, and it's why people got so mad about it in the first place. Wrestling's about family. It's about entertaining, people generationally. People say all the time, like my father loved wrestling, and he used to take me as a kid, and I'm taking my kid now. So that's really what it's about. So that's all that matters to me. I don't need any kind of accolades or any kind of I don't even need to win. I just want to entertain people and have fun, and I hope people enjoy this movie because it's a love letter to wrestling.
Oh, for sure. Well, we'll definitely spread the word. And David, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And like I said, I think for what you've been doing the past few years in wrestling have totally washed over any bad negativity I think people used to say online about you. So I think what you've done, we thank you so much, because I think, any show that we've seen you at or up here at Northeast Wrestling, it's always been great. We've always been entertained with it. And I think, it's just been fantastic for what you've done.
Thanks a lot, Steve, and thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate you guys.
All right, once again, thanks to David Arquette, guys. I've been asking him I've been bugging him. He knows I've been DMing him about being on the show, and I finally got a chance to speak with him with JB. And I don't know, man. Like I said, he's a great guy. He had such a scarlet letter for winning that championship to where it wasn't even his idea. He didn't even want it. He didn't even want to do that. But the guys backstage, I think DDP told him to, or Vince Russo or whatnot. So it wasn't like he demanded it. They wanted to do it, so he went with it. So you can't blame him for that. It's the world of wrestling. But guys, celebrities in wrestling, I want to talk about, because, when you think about pro wrestling, especially, it used to be a lot with WrestleMania, you put two and two together, you get celebrities in WWE, or celebrities in wrestling, somewhat, and so forth. They're somehow a part of it. through the decades. You know what I mean? You could list off people from Floyd Money Mayweather, Alice Cooper, Bob Barker. The list goes on and on. But guys, President Donald Trump, Master P, Dennis Rodman. You know, when I say celebrities in wrestling, I mean, who's the first one? Is there anybody out there, like, do you have like one thing you just think about when you think about an actor or celebrity or whatever well, it could be anything, but I mean 90% of it's WWE, but does anything stand out to you, or a funny moment, or just something you think about with celebrities in wrestling?
You know, the one that really came to mind to me when we decided on doing this topic was the first time outside of Mr. T, because I always just looked at him as oh God, what's his name? Oh God, Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor.
That's the one that was like, wow, that's the first time that we had a celebrity when I was growing up in the ring, really. Or at least it was a memorable one because it was such a big storyline. I remember him sitting in the crowd. God, I think it was a tag match with Bam Bam and somebody else, and Bam Bam lost. And Taylor was just sitting there kind of like giggling at him in the crowd, and Bam Bam went over there and just shoved him. And it was the start of the fucking great little storyline, man. And you know what?
It was WrestleMania 11, wasn't it?
Was it 11? You're probably right.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah, and then they all had, God, all the football players that came in. And you know what the other funny part was?
What's that?
Who was one of the members of his all-star team? Remember how Steve Mongo McMichael?
Yeah, because then he went to WCW. He had all the
football players, and Steve Mongo McMichael was one of them. And he ended up going to WCW. Yeah, but that was the one that was like, wow. And you know what? We all thought it was going to be the shits. And even as a kid, I'm like, wow, this is going to be bad. He actually put on a really good performance, and I had to give him his respect, man.
Yeah, it reminds me of a story, like, not a story. This was the WrestleMania, and it was one of those things where I think I was either going to bed or waking up early for school or something, and it was on TV. Like, WrestleMania was on like a regular channel, and I can't remember. And I really think it was like that same year, and I can't remember why. And I was like, why is this on regular TV right now? And it was like early in the morning or late at night, one of those two. And it was like on the Pix channel or whatever, 11 or something like that. And I'm like, it's WrestleMania, and that was the part when it was like Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow, and I was like watching it again, and I was like, I don't know. It was just a random thing that I couldn't believe it was just like on regular TV for some reason. Anyway.
That's true. And your parents were like, Jesus Christ, we could have waited 2 weeks. I paid $40 for that fucking thing.
I know. And that's why I was so mind blown, because I was like, why is it on regular TV? And I gotta like Google that. I wonder why it happened out there. But Mike, do you have any celebrities you think about when you just think about celebrities in pro wrestling?
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
I think it was WrestleMania 26, 25, 20, no, not 25, I think 26. I might be wrong.
25
when it was Jericho versus all the legends with Mickey Rourke.
That was after his movie, right? That was like a few years after,
that was after
maybe?
The Wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you talk about like recent celebrities, like SummerSlam, I think with 2015 with
Stephen Amell.
Stephen Amell. Yes. Yeah, Arrow, and he actually did pretty good.
Man, there's been
you know what else though? You talk about how great Stephen Amell was, because that was the Stardust storyline. You got to remember this: Cody Rhodes it's a reoccurring character. It's been in there a couple of times on Arrow in return. And he's actually a pretty decent actor.
You know, it's just funny because like. And I keep thinking about the stupid celebrity wing. Every time somebody says celebrity wing for Hall of Fame, all I think about is why is fucking Drew Carey in there? Because he made one fucking appearance on a like whatever, and I'm like, that's how they like who picked that fucking thing out? I can't believe I'm still mad at. That's another thing I'm probably mad at. Fucking Drew Carey. Add that on the list. No, but there's been some, like, Raw was doing it for a while. They would have, like, Pee Wee Herman and then Jeremy Piven. Seth Green would come out. Like, they're doing all, like, the guest hosts, right? Or whatever the guest...
Oh, God, the Bob Barker one was awesome. Remember the Bob Barker one? I love that episode.
Yeah, man. So
Jericho, how unhappy he was. Like, he played that part well.
Yes!
The Muppets fucking on there. Everybody. That was, like, that died a slow death of it, but... I remember even too growing up.
You brought up the Mickey Rourke one, and that one, I remember they wanted him to actually have the match against Jericho at Mania, but he couldn't do it.
Yeah,
because of the contract that he had, because he was They were filming the Iron Man 2 project at the time.
Man, that would have been really cool to see him actually have a real match after the whole wrestler movie, and just to kind of see him, do his things. He could do whatever he could do, and he was a pretty good boxer, right? Then he got fucked up.
He was
a Golden Glove,
boxer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he won a Golden Glove. I know he competed in the Golden Gloves. Either way, to get into a Golden Gloves tournament, you're a stud.
I just saw a movie with him the other day. Oh God, an old one. It was the one with was it The Rainmaker? Where what's his face? Matt Damon was like a brand new lawyer. It's on Netflix. It's a great fucking movie.
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of the name. I think Danny
DeVito. Yeah, it's The Rainmaker. I'm pretty sure it's The Rainmaker. Danny DeVito was in it, and fucking Mickey Rourke has like a part at the beginning and kind of makes an appearance at the end. But he's like he's a lawyer that's kind of like more of a street lawyer than anything else. He's got some street cred to him, but it's just a really, really good fucking movie, man. The Rainmaker. Check that one out.
Man, I'm just looking. I Googled it. I Googled celebrities in wrestling, and I have a link. I'm just looking at all the names and different things, and I go back to Donald Trump too because it's so funny when I think all of us, or I was definitely there. Cooter, you were there. We went to the WrestleMania 29 and the Hall of Fame. We saw him go into the Hall of Fame, and even at that Hall of Fame speech, it's so funny because you don't think what the future can hold for anybody, and to fucking think that we saw the 45th president of the United States, get elected or get not inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame is like the weirdest fucking story I'm gonna tell my kids later on in life. Like, well, get this, I saw him inducted into the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't make sense. And even I like the silly memes and all that shit that people put out there where somebody stunned him, didn't they? Didn't somebody give him the stunner? Did Steve Austin do it, or
he's the only guy who stuns people? Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to think of other things that he got beat up. Like, nobody else beat him up, right? Like, I think he just got the stunner from Steve Austin.
He just got stunned.
It was like a Raw, or it wasn't the Mania because it was the hair versus hair match.
No, it was the worst. Because they were doing that angle too after the fact when he was where he like bought Raw or something like that. And
the
he was
Battle
like
of the Billionaires, something, right?
Yeah, that's what started it. Yeah, man. It just fucking. Yeah, but that was good TV. But I remember that stunner. It was probably one of the worst stunners I've ever seen. Yeah. It was worse than the Linda McMahon stunner. It was that bad.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, and tell you what, WrestleMania 23 was the first WrestleMania I actually watched after coming back from college. Because, long story short, I went away. I couldn't watch Raw. Cable was a different cable down there. Yada yada yada. So I fell out of wrestling because I couldn't watch it for 3 years. When I came home, that was the first WrestleMania I watched from the beginning to end, and that's how I got back into it after a little absentee of pro wrestling. But I don't know, man. I feel like though even the years past or whatever, I feel like there's no big celebrity presence anymore at WrestleManias. And stop with these guest hosts or WrestleMania to where, what did Alexa Bliss do with Hulk Hogan? They came out at the beginning of it and that was it. Like, they didn't do anything to even deserve a name of host for WrestleMania. And it's I don't know. I just want to see them do something. Get involved with a match. Be a celebrity referee. Something.
I thought she did a great job with it. I mean, she couldn't wrestle it. She's still hurt.
No, I know, but I mean, like, when they make him a host, I feel like you're a host of a show, and like you're gonna be out the whole. Like, if they just want to say a guest introducer to the WrestleMania, whatever.
Was there ever? All right, let's throw this out there. Was there ever a fucking celebrity moment that fucking annoyed you, that you really hated?
Yeah, there was a couple.
Was it Jeremy Piven calling SummerSlam Summerfest or something?
Jeremy Piven.
You had one line, Jeremy.
Jeremy Piven. I love Jeremy Piven because he's Ari Gold from the Entourage, which is one of my favorite shows. But when he was on Raw, it was like nails on a fucking chalkboard to me because I don't know what he did, but like I remember this. Like, first of all, he messed up and called it Summerfest or whatever it was, and then mid-match, I don't know if he just, did this on his own or didn't tell anybody, but I don't know if you guys remember during one of the matches, he was on John Cena's side and all of a sudden just randomly turned heel and joined forces with Randy Orton. And both guys were just looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it was the most awkward shit I've ever seen in my life. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I can think of, how about the Snooki one? where fucking Morrison wouldn't even shake her hand.
What sucks is that in the history books, Snooki has a fucking WrestleMania win over like fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you look in the day when you look back, she has a fucking win at WrestleMania.
No, she wouldn't shake Trish's hand because he felt the Melina's spot, right?
Something, yeah. Ugh.
Here's a good one for you. Did anybody actually ever enjoy the Jon Stewart spot where he fucking cost John Cena?
Oh, it was terrible.
That match. I hated that so bad because he's a great sit-down comedian. I can't call him a stand-up comedian. He's a great sit-down comedian. You know, like a host, like a David Letterman type. But his acting is fucking atrocious.
Yeah, you didn't make it look too realistic, if you will.
No, not at all.
How about, you go back old school, because some of the kids out there probably don't remember this. It was Leslie Nielsen.
Oh my God!
He was searching
Undertaker versus Undertaker.
Yeah, he was searching for the missing Undertaker, and it was like, it was like one of those Naked Gun things, like it was talking in his head, like detective or whatever.
Mystery, yeah.
And it was like, unless you saw those movies back then and like watched it, you didn't understand. But I mean, people today probably have no idea if you had to Google it. But I don't know, that was just a funny use of a celebrity.
But you know what? That was enjoyable because I was a kid at the time when that happened.
Yeah.
And it was fun because I was a huge Undertaker fan, and it was away for so long after, the whole roster tried to kill him at the Royal Rumble after the Yokozuna match, you know what I mean? But you remember, speaking of which, how about this one? It was Chuck Norris as a special guest enforcer.
Chuck Norris.
Oh, God,
was that another Undertaker Yokozuna match?
I think so.
That was the one to keep everybody away.
Yeah. That's funny. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. How terrified would you be if I don't care who you are. That's fucking Chuck Norris, dude. He will beat your fucking face in, dude.
Now, I'll tell you what, even go back to WCW when we were talking with David Arquette, but what I used to be a big basketball fan growing up, and then I just kind of fell off and just stopped watching it. But when they had Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone in a match, like, that was kind of like, I don't know, a big deal as a fucking young Mark watching two guys who are pretty much, top NBA players, like, in a match. I'm not saying it was 5-star match, but it was just cool to actually see them get dressed up to get in the ring and wrestle. And I think, WCW was kind of good with some of those things, to where using like guys like that or some celebrities to do that
God,
kind of stuff. So
blew my mind because I remember I remember the episode of Bischoff's podcast. He was actually talking about that pay-per-view. And I remember they were saying, and what was so great about it was, by chance, they just so happened to be against each other in the NBA Finals that year.
Oh, that's so cool.
Okay, and I remember him saying on the podcast where he says, "Now, I'm not telling you that you should do this, but if there is some sort of a potential, I don't know, altercation between the two of you, if you wanted to play it up again, type of thing."
Yeah.
And I guess that's where they had that. I don't know if you ever seen the famous clip of them basically tripping all over each other in an NBA Finals game. I'll have to send you the clip, but Bischoff alleges that he indirectly inspired said moment because it was great promotion for the match. And man,
so you're saying they did it in the playing basketball to
during the fucking NBA Finals?
I gotta see that. Yeah. I feel like I vaguely remember it, but I don't. Like, I got to see it again.
Yeah, they were going at each other during those entire finals. They're very competitive guys, and Rodman was very competitive, and he was great in that role against, as in the NWO, and Malone working with DDP. I mean, that was a fun match to watch. I gotta say, I didn't. It is another one of those guys I didn't think would be able to pull it off, but Karl Malone, man, that motherfucker put in that work.
That's it, man. Well, I don't want to beat a dead horse right here, but it's just exciting to reminisce a little bit. Get this year started off right, guys. Maybe if you have any favorite celebrity moments, you can Facebook us or tweet us or something about that. We want to hear what you guys remember the most, because I don't know, celebrities and pro wrestling go hand in hand, guys. But with that said, guys, each show must come to an end, if you will. It's a new year, and I think we started it off right. I think this was a solid return for AWP, anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. Follow us, like us, subscribe, leave some love.